This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 1496. What to expect from your narcissistic spouse during a separation, and improving your communication skills. Both by Mariette Jansen of Dr. Destress.co.uk. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. My name is Greg Audino. I'm your host and narrator, and today I am coming to you with two short posts from the same author, both of which are covering different parts of relationship building and dynamics. We're going to be hearing from Mariette Jansen today, who is one of our newer contributors. So without further ado, let's jump into her articles, and then we will follow up with some commentary at the end, of course. Get ready as we optimize your life. What to expect from your narcissistic spouse during a separation, by Mariette Jansen of Dr. Destress.co.uk. It is not an easy process to separate from a narcissistic spouse. They often see the divorce as a removal from their imaginary throne. This threatens their very essence, as the looming reality of losing control over the person closest to them is never welcome. This is why some often seek vengeance and may use kids as collateral. 1 to 6% of the UK population is diagnosed with this personality disorder. However, there is little information about what to expect when leaving one. So, if you're separating from one, here are a few things you will likely experience. Denial. Due to their egotistical traits, it's difficult for them to accept the reality of the separation or divorce. They refuse to acknowledge the change and the impending legal change in their marital status. Usually, because their real narcissistic trait is well hidden from society, their marital status becomes a well-worn cloak. Therefore, as divorce looms with the likelihood of others knowing about their weaknesses, they live in denial. This may present in two ways. The narcissist may continue to operate as though all is well, even though the marriage is beyond repair. Alternatively, they may self-isolate and try to make the other spouse feel guilty. According to narcissistic behavior experts, the denial stage is only the prelude to what is to follow. This is why, at this stage, it may be highly recommended to leave home with the kids, if any, before realization finally hits. It's important to have a clear plan of your next line of action before vacating your home. It's also crucial to inform your divorce lawyer before leaving with the kids. Your divorce lawyer should know your every move because of the high possibility of a narcissistic spouse accusing you of kidnapping. It is worth it to note that the denial stage does not last long. Vengeance and anger. Vengeance and anger often follow immediately after the denial stage. In a bid to seek self-righteousness, they feel the compulsion to hit back. Through people's experiences, it's easy to say that narcissists will fight for everything they can lay their hands on: the property, children, any assets, custody, etc. Their main mission is to get all these away from you in hopes of continuing to indirectly control you. At this point, everything is an uphill battle, and you will need to be ready for the stress and the long ride. Another thing worth mentioning is that during the divorce proceedings, certain truths are unearthed, which may infuriate a narcissist further. For example, in several court cases, it was discovered that narcissists hid assets from their spouses. The existence of these assets only becomes known in court during proceedings. Having been exposed, the narcissist's spouse may deliberately delay the divorce process to frustrate the other partner. Blame. Narcissists always blame others. They may have accepted the reality and the finality of the divorce at this stage. At this point, the only weapon in their armory is the blame game. A narcissist will lay blame on everyone else but themselves. Their now ex-partner becomes the target of the blame game. By projecting their weaknesses onto others, they manipulate others into thinking that their spouse was at fault. Dealing with a narcissist can be a tricky one for many families. Therefore, if you are divorcing one, ensure that you have enough evidence to prove their narcissistic personality in court. Improving your communication skills, by Mariette Jansen of Dr. Destress.co.uk. Communication skills are essential for anyone to make their way through life. We communicate with others most of the time, whether that's friends, family, partners, colleagues, customer support staff, strangers, or anyone else. You need to be able to communicate well to build and maintain a healthy social life, a healthy professional life, and more. But how can you improve your communication skills to communicate in the best way that you can? Well, it will take some learning and it will take some work, but it's possible. Here are some ideas of focus to help you with this. Each will apply more or less to different people, depending on your current skill set. But hopefully, some will come in useful for you. Learn to listen. The most important communication skill anyone can learn and focus on is listening. All too many people are busy talking all the time. But by listening to someone properly, you can really help conversations go more smoothly and productively. If anything is unclear, ask for clarifications to avoid misunderstandings. Try to maintain one conversation at a time. Consider who you're talking to. This may sound like common sense, but so many people forget, neglect, or don't bother to take this into account. It's important to consider who you are talking to when you're having a conversation. Different people will require different considerations. If you're talking to a child, for example, you may take a different approach or tone to make your conversation more age-appropriate. If you're talking to someone elderly with hearing disabilities, you may want to speak more slowly and clearly. If you're speaking to someone at work, you may want to consider communicating in a more professional manner, using tips from STL. If you're speaking to your friends, you might be more casual. Context is always important in any conversation. Be aware of your body language. Communication involves much more than words alone. Our body language can speak volumes, so be aware of your own body language and others' body language. This is particularly important for face-to-face encounters, video calls, or any other situation where people can see what you're doing while you're talking or while they're talking to you. Think before speaking. All too many people say whatever comes into their head, as and when it comes into their head. This isn't always wise. Sometimes it's better to take a moment and consider your thoughts before speaking, especially in situations where your words can make a big impact. This could be an argument or disagreement, a professional meeting, or other significant events. Considering what you're about to say before saying it will allow you to exercise better judgment and to say what you're actually thinking, feeling, or believe. Of course, there are more skills that can help with your communication, but those outlined previously should help to get the ball rolling and support you in your journey. Take each into consideration and work on it. You'll notice the difference before you know it. Practice makes perfect. You just listened to the posts titled, What to Expect from Your Narcissistic Spouse During a Separation, and Improving Your Communication Skills, both by Mariette Jansen of Dr. Destress.co.uk. And a pair of dandies from Mariette, which we thank her for. Now, one part of the second post really jumped out to me, that being her segment about considering who we're talking to. Now, I think that bullet was beautifully handled, and it's such an important idea to keep in mind. One reason for this is because a lot of us might feel a sense of shame for bringing different parts of ourselves to different people, as if it's bred from dishonesty or a lack of self-confidence maybe. But this couldn't be farther from the truth. Different relationships often call for different parts of ourselves, not just in conversation, but in our overall interactions with them. So trust that different people in our lives will help us give life to and get to know different parts of ourselves. And this is really a gift. This is one of the many ways in which others help us learn about not just the world around us, but about our inner life as well. So I'm going to leave it at that for today, everybody. Thanks again to Mariette for a couple of great posts today. And do be sure to tune into OLD, Optimal Living Daily, where you will likely hear more from her. And aside from that, have a great rest of your day. And of course, if you would like more ORD, who doesn't, we have our weekly bonus episode live now too. So check that out, and I'll see you there, where your optimal life awaits.